There's a question at the center of obsession that I want to address. Bear gets exactly what he wished for. Nikki loves him, right? Completely, more than anything in the world, she loves him. And yet, it destroys everything. So, here's the question. Was the wish the problem, or was it Bear? Before we go further, I'm going to talk about this whole film, including the ending. So that's worth knowing going in. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch it first and then come back after. Hi, I'm a psychiatrist and this is SlowReel, where we watch films slowly for what they are really saying. And Obsession is one of those films that stays with you in the worst possible way. Not maybe because of the gore, though there is plenty of that, but because of how recognizable Bear can be. How easy it is to understand him, and perhaps how that understanding becomes increasingly, even horribly uncomfortable as the film goes on. So, Bear is introduced as a good person, and the film means that. He is not cruel or predatory in any obvious way. He is shy, kind, maybe even a little awkward. So, basically the guy in your friend group who everyone likes. And his feelings for Nikki are real. His fear of ruining their friendship is also real. And his hesitation to say anything in the early scenes is entirely sympathetic. But I believe that that is the film's first trap. It wants you to like Bear, and maybe even to root for him, because the film knows that what's coming only lands if you were on his side first. Bear makes a wish, not a violent wish at all, not a controlling wish, or at least so he thinks. He wishes for Nikki to love him more than anything in the world. It might even sound romantic, right? But think about what he actually wished for. He didn't wish to know if Nikki had feelings for him, or he didn't wish to have the courage to tell her how he felt. He wished for the outcome, bypassing her and her choices entirely, bypassing her feelings and her inner life, to get directly to the result that he wanted. So to me it seems that the wish is not the monster. The wish is just doing what Bear already wanted. When Spell Nikki arrives, she loves Bear completely, and it is immediately wrong. Her eyes are glazed, her speech is halting, she jolts and screams. She does things that make no sense, as if something is fighting to get out from underneath that surface. Because something is trying to get out, the real Nikki, who is trapped somewhere inside, experiencing what can only be described as a living nightmare. And Bear stays. I believe this is the sequence that will sit with you long after the film ends, because Bear doesn't stay out of malice, he stays out of want. He has what he wished for and he doesn't want to give it up, even knowing what it is costing her. He tries to rationalize and he delays his decisions. He basically chooses comfort over conscience again and again. Now, the film is describing something that exists far outside horror. The way we desire can make us selectively blind, able to see exactly what we want to see in another person while editing out everything that doesn't fit the picture. Bear looked at Nikki for years and saw what he wanted. The wish just made that literal. What he ends up with isn't Nikki, it's a projection of Nikki shaped entirely by his need. And he knew it. And he stayed anyway. If this film made you think about a time you saw someone as you needed them to be rather than who they actually were, you're exactly who this channel is for, so subscribe. We go to real uncomfortable places here, but also the comfortable ones. So here is what I keep coming back to as a psychiatrist. The wish didn't just take Nikki's agency, it took everyone's. Spell Nikki? She can't choose anything. She exists only to love Bear. A compulsion so total, it's closer to possession than emotion. The real Nikki is trapped, powerless, and suffering somewhere underneath. Bear's friends, they are pulled into the spiral without understanding why. And Bear himself, who initiated all of this, who held the wish in his hand and made it, he discovers slowly that he controls nothing. He thought desire was power, but it wasn't. It was a trap that closed around everyone the moment he made the wish. There is a clinical concept called objectification, treating a person as a means to an end rather than as a subject with their own inner life, their own desires and reality. So Bear objectified Nikki before the wish. The wish just externalized it, made it visible, and gave it teeth and blood and screaming. So I would say that the horror of obsession isn't supernatural. It's the horror of recognizing that dynamic, of watching it play out to its logical conclusion and sitting in a cinema and feeling uncomfortably that you understand Bear, that perhaps the distance between him and you might be smaller than you'd like. And the filmmakers know it, they are counting on it. So Bear eventually decides to end it. He takes pills, he is going to die. But then he chickens out. He tries to make himself sick, tries to undo it. I would say one last act of cowardice or self-preservation, or maybe even both. And then he stops. His whole demeanor shifts. He goes to Nikki and kisses her. He lets the overdose take him. And the camera cuts to a broken willow branch. Spell Nikki made a wish. I believe the director confirmed it, that Spell Nikki wished for Bear to come to her and love her at the moment he was dying. His wish and her wish cancelled each other out, both of them gone. And here is what I find most disturbing about that ending, more even than the death and the gore, more than anything else in the film. Bear tried to choose his own death. He tried to take back some agency, some authorship over his own ending, and even that was taken from him. He didn't die on his own terms, he died on Spell Nikki's terms, on the terms of the thing he created. The wish he made consumed him so completely that his final moment, the most intimate, irreversible moment a person can have, wasn't really his. And that's not justice or punishment. That is the wish finishing what it had started. When you reduce someone to an object of your desire, you don't just take their agency, you lose your own as well, completely and finally, even at the end of it all. So Obsession is being talked about as a horror film for Gen Z, a film about modern dating anxiety, consent, the quote-unquote nice guy, and getting what you want and having it destroy you. And I believe all of that is true, but also underneath all of it is something older and maybe more basic, something that has nothing to do with a specific generation or era. The wish Bear made is a wish a lot of people make in different ways, especially with quiet and internal decisions we make about who someone is or what they're for, or whether their inner life matters as much as our need for them. The film is asking, do you see the person or do you see what you need from them? Because if it's the second, the wish is already made. The branch is already broken. I believe the film deliberately leaves you unsettled about Bear. You're not quite hating him or you're not quite forgiving him. Where did you land? Do tell me in the comments. I love to read them and answer them. And do subscribe if you made it this far. I would love to see you here again. And yes, next video, next week. See you then. Bye.